All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Pascal Siakam joins elite Raptors company with his 40-point, 10 rebound, and 3 steal game in the regular season. Joins Kawhi Leonard, Chris Bosh, Vince Carter, who did it twice, and now Siakam. So that's literally it. So Siakam playing, I think everyone can agree, even non-Raptors fans, I think can agree that Siakam should make an all-NBA team this year. I've seen a couple of people say first team. I don't think that'll happen, especially considering he first missed chunk of the season. I've seen second team, I've seen third team. I think just given missing a little bit of before the season and then just kind of being on the Raptors, so you already kind of are screwed as far as the media goes. I would imagine Siakam gets third team All-NBA this year. So very impressive. And last night, we talked about it yesterday, very ugly win, but right now, dude, they're the 6th seed and you are literally tied with the Chicago Bulls for number 5. You are tied with them. Chicago Bulls have 6 wins since the All-Star break, which is just god-awful. Like, literally the only teams with less than how many wins the Bulls have had since break is the Lakers, OKC, and Portland. And all 3 of those teams suck right now, like, just desperately. So welcome back to the channel, man. Obviously, we have a Raptors video here for you guys. If you enjoy it, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Raptor Nation, words cannot describe. I think we have like 3 or 4 straight videos with over 200 likes. So let's aim for 250 likes on today's video. That's such a high number, but Raptors Nation just always shows massive amounts of love. So love hearing your guys' insights down below in the comment section. I want to talk a little bit about Toronto because at 43-32, right, you're the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, and you just beat the Boston Celtics. And obviously, like I said in yesterday's video, B team Boston. Right, the B team of the Boston Celtics. Boston, still a tough team. It was still a tough team. A win is a win. You can't control the schedule. You can't control who the other team has when you play them on the schedule. So Toronto right now, I think last night was huge for me for a couple of reasons. First off, we really are witnessing the dominance of Siakam. On the season, what is he averaging? Like 24, 8, and 5. Obviously, a gifted scorer. Just an absolutely gifted scorer. He's clutch. He had 2 huge clutch free throws at the end of the game yesterday. But this is a guy who can just pretty much control and dominate an entire basketball game for 4 straight quarters. You can rely on Pascal Siakam. But one thing I've been talking a lot about since the All-Star break, or during the All-Star break, saying, what are some keys for Toronto to make a deep playoff run? And even Raptors fans right now are kind of like sitting, I'll make a video saying I don't see a reason why Toronto couldn't make the finals. Even you got some Raptors fans, trying to be a little bit, keep expectations in check. Well, you look at the Eastern Conference and there's gaping holes with every team in the East, man. Chicago has been terrible. Philadelphia has choke artist James Harden on their roster. Take it from a Rockets fan. I don't think people really understand James Harden in the playoffs, especially in big-time games. And I love James Harden. He's the reason for this YouTube channel, but I'm not afraid of the Philadelphia 76ers because they have Harden. You also have Joel Embiid. And 2 players who are not reliant on free throws, but 2 players who a huge portion of their success is getting to the free throw line. When you get to the playoffs, calls just don't happen as much. Literally watching James Harden in the playoffs sometimes was so unbelievably frustrating because there would be plays where he would just get hacked. He would just get completely hacked, get double teamed, he'd get triple teamed. You just neutralize what you can neutralize and let everything else take care of itself. You play hard, you play good defense. Philadelphia, to me, not scary. Obviously, all these teams that I'm about to mention are really talented, and probably one of these teams is going to make the NBA Finals. But I'm saying as far as the Raptors go, I don't see a big enough gap between maybe, say, a Phoenix Suns team. If Phoenix was in the Eastern Conference, I would say yes. Phoenix, Memphis, Golden State, all those teams probably are going to be tough. It'd probably be tough for Toronto to get to the finals, but they're not. They're in the West. So outside of Philly, outside of Chicago, you have Miami, who they've been suffering as well. Second half of the season, things just aren't clicking. The defense is collapsing. I don't know what is going on with Miami, but they just haven't been looking like the first half team that they were. I think right now they're actually back to tied for first seed. After that, you have Boston. Boston, to me, is probably the most talented team in the Eastern Conference. Sorry, Raptors Nation, but they're a really, really good starting five lineup, and they have a really good bench. Robert Williams is probably out for the year. I don't think we have official word on if he's going to be out for the playoffs. If Robert Williams is out for the playoffs, that really, really, really messes up Boston, not only just like round one, round two, but just making a finals run, winning a ring this year without Robert Williams would be difficult. So I think Robert will come back at some point in the playoffs. I really do. But Boston's probably that one team that I would say that's a really talented, scary team that I don't want to play in a 7-game series in the playoffs. Outside of that, you have Milwaukee, really talented basketball team there. So, like I said, there's a bunch of talent in the Eastern Conference, but there's just this current logjam. There's all of these different scenarios that are going in with it. I just don't think Toronto, I don't think you can count on a team like Toronto. I mean, look at last season. The Atlanta Hawks, who are currently in the play-in tournament right now, the Atlanta Hawks literally last season, Eastern Conference Finals. Eastern Conference Finals, the Atlanta Hawks. I view the Atlanta Hawks as they're a good team. They're a solid basketball team, but there's who would have thought that they were going to make the Eastern Conference Finals? It's easy to look back in hindsight. It's easy to look back and say, oh yeah, Milwaukee versus Phoenix. That was a finals that made sense. Those were the two best teams in the NBA. But entering the playoffs, there was a lot of concern with both of those teams. A lot of concern with both of those teams, just given past and recent playoff history. So it's not easy to get to the Eastern Conference Finals or to the NBA Finals. I would say the NBA Finals are a little bit more of a stretch for a team like Toronto, especially with their bench. But Eastern Conference Finals, I would say it's 100% in play. Just 100% in play. And a huge reason, and one thing I really noticed last night was players like Thaddeus Young are really stepping up. Chris Boucher has been solid for him all season. So you've got him off the bench. You have Precious Achiuwa, who's really been finding himself in the NBA right now. He's been balling his ass off too in the second half of the season. So you have those two players. Armani Brooks, for some reason, was a DNP last night. I really hope Malachi Flynn can get healthy for the playoffs because he was one of the best defenders in his draft class when he got drafted 2 years ago. But he's a guy who knows the system. You know, players have played with him before. And so I'm hoping Malachi comes back. I know Raptors fans are a little, hit or miss on Malachi Flynn, but I'm hoping he can come back. Delano Banton hasn't been seeing much run at all either. It's tough with these young kids. It's tough with these rookies. You just don't know if you can rely on them. You just don't know if you can lean on them in important games. Thaddeus Young, though, is a huge, huge, huge veteran piece for him. Not even if Thaddeus Young's coming off the bench getting 15 to 20 minutes like he's been getting, even 25, just his veteran experience, just the leadership aspect is something you can't really put on a stat sheet like Thaddeus Young. You just can't really factor in how important having a player like Thaddeus Young off of your bench is, especially for a very young Toronto Raptors team. Toronto's got a perfect blend of really young talent and guys like Scotty Barnes. Then you have your veteran kind of in Thaddeus Young, and then you have this perfect blend of players who have championship experience and they're just entering their prime or about to enter their prime. Guys like Siakam, guys like Freddie, Gary's on the younger side, OG's on the younger side. So I really don't think it's impossible. I really don't think it's impossible. As far as getting to a home field advantage, I don't think that's really going to happen. I think someone dropped a comment explaining it where it's Toronto would basically have to win 5 straight basketball games, and you would need one of the top 4 seeds to lose 4 out of their next 5. As shaky as Miami's been, as maybe Robert Williams, but Boston looked fine last night. I just don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. The Bulls are a very realistic possibility. But I would just focus on staying healthy and getting as many wins as you can. Just trying to get your performance peaking at the most perfect time, which is the start of the NBA playoffs. And that's literally what Toronto looks like they're trending towards. Yesterday's win was ugly as hell. but it was right after a 40-point blowout against Indiana. You just beat Cleveland the other week, or the other game. Last week you beat Philadelphia, a really talented, healthy Philadelphia team. So don't count out these Raptors, man. Don't count out these Toronto Raptors. Next 5 games, you got Minnesota tomorrow, you got Orlando, you got Miami, you got Atlanta, you got Philadelphia. So 4 of the next 5 are, Eastern Conference opponents. 2 of those are ahead of you in the standings. So nothing's impossible, man. Drop a comment down below. What do you want Toronto to do for the rest of the season? What do you want them to do? I wouldn't mind if Gary or Freddie took some nights off. Maybe I'm eyeing that Orlando game, maybe even the Minnesota game. If he, first quarter especially last night, man, looked injured. The man definitely looked injured. But he ended up playing a huge role to their victory. He ended up playing a huge role to their success and to the victory. So this is such an intriguing team. I would say they're probably, for me, the most intriguing team in the NBA in general. So hit the like button, Raptor Nation. I love you guys. Forever grateful for you. And let's try and hit 250 likes on today's video. Hit that subscribe button if you guys like daily Raptors content along with daily NBA videos. And I'll see you guys later. How you like that?